Alright you guys, welcome back. It's craziness of the internet here, and we are back again with another video in EVE Online. And if you guys are enjoying the PvP roaming series that I am bringing to you and the information provided in the channel, please do subscribe, as it doesn't cost you a thing and it does help me out a lot, and I can bring you guys the best EVE Online content that I can with the time that I have provided. I do appreciate all of the support that I have got so far, and I am glad to grow this channel together with you. In today's pirate PvP roaming video in EVE Online, we will be defending defensively, as it looks like we are being pressured pretty heavily, and in our pirate faction there is lower numbers versus other factions in the game, and also in our pirate faction, because it is pirates, they do tend to fire upon one another for the LP and the riches. Now do keep in mind that if you do choose to shoot your allies or your allied faction, that you do take a standing reduction, and that you can only do it a few times before you will be disbanded from the faction. That in mind if you are choosing to betray your allies and your brethren on the battlefield. Alright, you guys, do remember, if you do like assault frigates and you are enjoying my content so far, at 100 likes I will do some more assault frigate guides and video roams for you, and we are bringing this out for the next generation of PvPers and also the long-term EVE Online industrialists and minor players that maybe never have got into PvP themselves, so maybe they want to get out there and give it a shot, and also for all you players out there just watching and wondering yourselves. But with that said, today you guys, I will be defending the area with a random handful of assault frigates that I did move down. Now I will run these assault frigates until I have none left, and then I will go back to doing my other things for the faction. But at times as a solo PvPer, I do have to put in the effort to defend the area, and without good PvPers in all factions of the zones, whether it's factional warfare for the 4 empires or any of the factions, pirates, insurgencies, they all do need help sometimes as well. So today you guys, in this series, the 4 assault frigates that I will be running are these ones right here. Alright you guys, these are the 4 assault frigates that I will be running for my defensive roam, and I will be utilizing each one of these assault frigates in a defensive format. And also remember, what I try to teach you guys the most about EVE Online is that there is no best ship, that each ship in the game is situational in its own right, and that each ship has a utility-based role. This is what makes EVE Online unique, and why some people have a harder time understanding the PvP in EVE Online, even if they are good at PvP in other games, and why it takes them a moment to transition to understand it. It is because each ship in its own right is unique at what it can do. But remember you guys, that the most powerful things in the game is speed and EWAR, because if you cannot apply your DPS, then your HP will not matter, because you are already dead. So you do have to take that into account when you are using brawling format ships, and you do have to expect that you will get blobbed or overpowered at times, and you can get good moments of kills, but that's just how it is as a solo PvPer. And remember you guys, that EVE Online in its base core is a social sandbox game, so you should be out there fleeting up with friends or making friends along the way, because the best ship in the game is always friendship. So when you look at the stats of each one of these assault frigates, you guys, you can see that starting with the Jaguar over here, that it does have a light missile and rocket explosion velocity increase, and it also has a missile and rocket damage increase. On top of that, it does get rate of fire increase, which you guys, in barrages of rockets, is extremely powerful, because it is the one base weapon system that can break ancillary reppers when it's overheated, and on top of having the ability to increase the rate of fire. And on top of that supporting factor, the Jaguar does have the ability to give yourself 35% more shield booster amount. Now this helps you in extremely strong moments against other destroyers, because you will have that shield repping boost amount to give you the power with your ADC to lock down and control those destroyers, which your assault frigate role is to be able to survive the barrage of a destroyer. Now remember you guys, our utility role here is to take on these destroyers, but we can be pressured, especially when we are under dupe pressure, so we are going to have to time this correctly. And we do always want to play with the web defensively when we are in this
The capacitor is empty.
Alright, starting to control my cap
A
pretty good here.
module has run out of charges. The capacitor is empty. The capacitor is empty. The capacitor is empty.
Hopefully I get this off here. Come on. Nice, I got it. Ooh, he almost got us there. See what I mean like that? Alright, here we go to
A
focus.
module has run out of charges. The capacitor is empty.
I think I'm able to break him. The volleys are hurting him. Eat everything. Eat it all! Do or die. You or me.
A module has run out of
no
charges.
structure. Oh. Held her down. GF, brother. Now, when you look at the Retribution, you have to take into consideration that yes, the Amarr vessels are some of the most powerful and tankiest ships in the game when it comes to the armor-based factor, but they also do pressurize their own capacitor by utilizing their weapon systems that are heavily based on using capacitor to control the mid and long range brawl. So when you look at the Retribution, it does give you 50% at max range for optimal range, which is really powerful in itself because already you do get that powerful mid and long range brawl range, and down here at max skills you do get 5% more to your small turret damage, maxing out at 25% more. Now here is where it gets unique, is that you do get a mass reduction in the activation cost that is needed to fire your weapons, and then you can increase the rate of fire with those on top of that. Now a little trick here, you guys, is if you do use Gatling pulse lasers from the Amarr faction, they are the fastest firing weapons that they do have for the laser system, so increasing the rate of fire on top of your speed attack weapon systems does produce a nice steady volley of DPS. The Jaguar should be used against heavy EM and thermal based weapon systems, and when you look at the Retribution here, you guys, it is a hybrid style between the Punisher and the Rifter. That is what it is. Yes, over the years many players have utilized it as my brother's legendary kiting build because you do have the power of the ADC and many low slots to make it a powerful kiter, because you do get the increased range allowing you to utilize some of your rig slots for other uses, and having as a kiter that ADC to be able to give yourself 8 to 10 seconds of almost invulnerability to either pull range or go in for the kill is extremely strong. But as a brawling factor, it should always be thought of as the Punisher and the Rifter combined, and in that format it does become extremely powerful, and it is super strong to anything kinetic and explosive, and is also able with its rate of fire to break ancillary reppers. That in itself is a good thing to note, and you guys always want to remember things like that.
I do have them. Let's get into some brawl range here. It's a fast switch to conflict. I want to do an orbit at 25. We do have a plate, so we can hold. We're hitting him for almost nothing. He must have ADC'd. There's some kind of weird stable build. Try and break him down here. I think he's beginning to break. Come here, yo. I didn't even have to ADC. Come here. Oh, he's trying to speed away. Gonna have to heat up on the cycle. starting to melt. GF, brother.
Now, when you look at the Ishkur here, you guys, it does have, like the Jaguar, a 35% at max skill to repping bonus, but this is an armor-based ship, and this is the drone assault frigate for the Gallente Empire. Now, you also do get some optimal range, and you do get some turret damage, and your drones will get more survivability with their hit points, but in this ship, you guys, it is based more around the gun weapon system than it is the drones. The drones will produce around 80 to 110 DPS depending on your skills, and you do get more of the DPS on your weapon system. So remember that in one of these ships, whatever build you choose out on the battlefields, that you still would mainly want to utilize your DPS towards your hybrid weapons or your railgun systems. Alright, there's so much DPS that's going to be coming in here, but my core role and design here is to break up these T1 destroyers and kill one going down or take them both out. This guy's still staying on the field. Alright, let's turn back into him, see if he still wants to go. Nope, he's gone. And if we look at the Vengeance, it is also a unique style of a little assault frigate, because what you're looking at here is the Kestrel and the Punisher in one. That is exactly what the Vengeance is. It is a hybrid of the Punisher and the Kestrel combined. Now, what's unique about this assault frigate is that it has the ability to allow you to use your capacitor recharge rate, making it viable for many things, you guys. It can become a stable brawler. It can become a high DPS brawler that has the ability to never run out of cap and continuously lock your opponent down. It can become a stable utility kiter. There is many things that you can do with it because of the ability to recharge 25% of your capacitor faster. Add a few more buffs on top of that, eat a couple boosters for your cap, and this thing becomes extremely strong in other formats that most players have never thought of and most players have never seen, because they are used to the basic battery one and another. But I like to utilize and understand and control my capacitor and utilize the 25% recharge rate, allowing myself to use the web of fire as well. And on top of that, you guys, we do get some rocket damage and we do also get some rate of fire. So when you do use that on a rocket launcher and increase the rate of fire just a little bit, it does become extremely powerful and start pressurizing all ancillary reppers. Alright, here you guys can see that the assault frigate, the Vengeance, does have the ability to be like the Keldari faction and choose the type of damage that it wants to apply. So here I'm gonna rock this guy with explosive rockets as fast as I can. And you can see that properly fit, you can wreck T1 frigates really fast. Alright, you guys, I pulled up the attribute sheets here because I want you guys to see this and understand for yourselves that each one of the ships in its core design is different in its utility-based role, and that you have to understand that each ship in EVE Online is designed to do specific things, and that the utility-based role, you guys, of all assault frigates in the game is to go in and break up the destroyers that are supporting the enemy cruisers or the enemy battle cruisers and pin down and try to lock any of the command destroyers and take them out. Now remember, you guys, that an assault frigate, whether it is kiting or set to brawl, it can take on 2 or 3 of its underclass, so it will be able to take the pressure of 2 or 3 T1 frigates, but remember, on 3 it will be pressured and can be overrun at times. Now I really need you guys to understand and take in what I've explained to you so far, and to understand that each one of these ships should be utilized in each one of their core designs and their roles. Now if you look at the Jaguar right here, you guys, you can see that its armor, hit points, and its shield is heavily based around EM and thermal resistances, making the Jaguar more viable, you guys, to engage things such as Amar based weapon systems, because those are heavily based around EM and thermal. And it is also heavily resistant against drones such as hobgoblins and say things like EM drones from the Amar faction, but it does have a weaker resistance based to kinetic and explosive, which does have a a base natural resistance in its shield based form. So remember you guys that the Jaguar is a decently good resistance ship, but it will falter to kinetic and explosive and is best against thermal and EM weapon systems. Also, the Jaguar is really good at locking down and taking on Amarr based destroyers, and it does falter heavily when it is pressured by a web or it is under the pressure of heavily volleying barraging guns. So make sure to always utilize the rocket or the light missile range in the Jaguar, you guys, and to make sure that your minimum range should always be around 5,000, even if you are orbiting.
Right, I do have him locked here, but he is using his web defensively and he was positioned before me. Now this is what I mean, you guys, where we can be pressured if we are under heavy DPS fire. My main attributes here are EM and thermal, so I am weak to his secondary kinetic. I just want to go in and test, and I do know that a medium repper will fail after 4 small weapons. He does have 6. Oh shit, I'm breaking. Oh shit. Oh. Remember, you guys played safe in that one.
Warp drive active.
Alright you guys, now if we look at the Retribution, you can see that it is mainly designed around heavily based resistance for explosive and kinetic. The main is explosive, and you can see the secondary is kinetic, which in itself is a natural base resistance form for the shield. But you can see that in the Jaguar over here, its bonuses for the assault frigate role gave it high natural resistances in the armor to the EM and the thermal, and over here it gave us natural resistances and bonus to the explosive and kinetic in the shield format, but we did not get anything towards EM or thermal. So you can see that our EM is actually 0. So in shield format we do get wrecked, and we do have our natural base resistances in armor at thermal and EM, but our main utility resistance role is explosive and kinetic. And always understand, you guys, that the Retribution is a massive powerful brawling ship. Yes, over the years many players have utilized my brother's legendary kiting build, because you can utilize many of the low slots to set to nano and to your agility, and having the ability to have the ADC on top of going in towards your opponent to get that kill, and activating the ADC for that 8 seconds of invulnerability is almost unmatched against any other kiting vessel, because they do not have the ability to do that. And then you can also use that ability to pull range and set up what you need to do by utilizing your ADC. But as a brawling factor, the Retribution is super powerful, and it is nothing more, you guys, than the Punisher and the Rifter combined. That is literally what the Retribution is. It utilizes both factors of both the ships combined into making one stat with some bonus stats on top of that. So don't forget that utility based role of the Retribution, that it is godly at brawling. But the Amarr faction, you guys, is one of the best fleet factions in the game. Same with Caldari. And on top of that, Amarr is the most powerful armor and HP buff faction in the game. So when you add on utilities such as Logi and repping and healing yourselves and your allies, it becomes super hard to break some of the heavy HP based ships. So because some of the ships become extremely hard to break, they do have a reduced mid slot, meaning they either get a choice. They can either choose to have a scram or a web, and they should have an ally or a friend on the battlefield utilizing the other form of factor or EWAR for them. This is where you have to take into consideration some of the fights that you must choose when you are a solo PvPer and utilize your fights correctly. But do remember that it is powerful at brawling, and it is nothing more than a Punisher and a Rifter.
Start shooting. As he has a closer range, I want to be a little distance away. Start repping now. I do have a 400 plate. Soon. I think I am just outside of his range. Am I stabilizing? Looks like I am stabilizing here. Just at the tippity tip. have to reset my orbit. Go closer here. I just want to get a little bit more hits in there. There we go. Flying a little better. He was switching his ammo there. Switching his ammo. I think I'm going to go in close now. Heat. Just in case he was switching his ammunition. Let's apply some more DPS to him. He's breaking. We don't want to burn our weapons out though. Gonna rep as much as I can, all the way to the last moment to ADC. I'm going to ADC now. I'm going to turn off my engine. Ooh, there he goes.
Now when we look at the Ishkur from the Gallente faction, you can see that it has a completely different base resistance role than the Jaguar and the Retribution, as you can look at and see that it is mainly resistance towards kinetic and secondary is thermal, and that is completely different versus the explosive and kinetic and the thermal and EM from the Jaguar. Now what is very unique about the resistances for the Ishkur versus the other ones is that its utility based role makes it highly resistant towards its own faction weapons. Yep, that's right you guys, it is highly resistant towards Gallente weapons because Gallente are thermal and kinetic. So if you were to go against any other factions in the game, their secondary or primaries would always interfere and be able to break your bane resistance against them. So as an example, if I went say against Minmatar, look at my explosive resistance, they would start wrecking me in the end, as yes I am resistance towards their kinetic, but I am low grade resistance as my base core role without any mods or design against explosive. So they could get crit and smashing hits on me and there is nothing at all I can do. Now the Ishkur, you guys, is a utility based role as it is the drone based assault frigate out of all of the assault frigates. There is a couple more that do have drones, but this thing does utilize drones more than the others. But I want you guys to understand that this ship right here does utilize mainly its weapon systems over its drones, not like other ones where it chooses drones over weapons in the Gallente faction, but in this one it chooses weapons over drones, and drones are secondary applying.
Alright, I was able to land on a Thrasher here. Our resistance is super weak to explosive, which is this guy's primary. If we don't catch this DPS with our reps, we're dead. I think I am holding now. If I let this orbit die and he tracks me, it's over. Remember, in the end, I am just a frigate. Oh, we broke.
So now that you guys start to see and understand that there is no best ship in the game, that truly each ship is situational in what it can do and its own right, we start to look at the Vengeance right here and see that it is the same resistance level of the Retribution in its core, that it is highly resistant to explosive and kinetic as its secondary. But this ship in its uniqueness and its design, you guys, is a Kestrel and a Punisher combined. So it will utilize the bombardment capabilities and control of application as a Caldari pilot will, but it will also utilize the power and the defenses of the Punisher, creating what you see right here, the Vengeance.
Oh, he's fighting back. Alright, this guy's going for it. Our role design here is to annihilate Navy T1 and destroyers, so we can get on one of those command destroyers. Oh, he's starting to break now. I don't think he can hold on much longer. I barely had to use my ensil. He is maintaining a solid orbit, though he is counter-reacting some of my DPS with his speed there. But sadly, I do think he is done now. Looks like a cap issue now. Good fight.
Now remember, you guys, all of the ships are unique in their core designs, and that you must choose your fights correctly and choose what you want to do for the build that you have chosen for your ship design and what you're gonna do in your roam, whether you're gonna support your friends, whether you're gonna go out solo, whatever it is you're going to do. Just remember, you guys, that in EVE Online, especially in the warfare zones, whether you're in the pirate insurgency like myself or you're in the factional warfare zones, you need to go out there and start to PvP, because that is why you're here. Do not care if you lose a ship. That is the main goal of the game. The game is based around PvP and ship loss. Alright, now that you guys have seen the basic stats and understand how to use and utilize the assault frigates for yourselves in the best way that you can, I do hope that you guys get out there on the battlefield and do test out some assault frigates for yourself, or destroyers or frigates or cruisers in general. As remember, you guys, this is a PvP based game, so win or lose, you should be out there on the battlefield supporting your friends, getting yourself some good old kills. Now, this defensive assault that I will be raging on all sides of the battlefield, and I will be hunting also in the Amar and Minmatar zones as well to try and get my kills up so that I can get more LP if we do win, but we are being suppressed and pushed back heavily. So if I show you guys right now, right here, what I mean, we open up this and we look, and you can see that each one of the dots right here, the orange ones, is us, and that each one of the reflections as it gets bigger is how we push the system. So you can see that this is stage 1, and over here, if I zoom in for you guys and we just go over to this one right here, you can see that this is stage 5, suppression stage 4. Now what I want you guys to see is that these were our spawning systems over here. They were pushed out by the factional warfare players and suppressed, so we are in a moment here where we could face losing the insurgency. So I have utilized myself to turn into a defensive style play and to try to press a few systems by getting some LP, and to defend the areas by sacrificing as many ships as I need to and get as many kills as I can, forcing players to not want to come into the zones. Now remember, you guys, the goal here is not to chase kill boards on third-party websites. The goal here is to have fun and to utilize what you need to do for your faction. Alright, you guys, we are going to stop the first video here, and this will be a 3-part video series to this defensive roam. Now I did have to get you guys at first to understand assault frigates and what their base utility role is in the game, as yes, a lot of players do understand meta and modules and how to fit a ship, but in the end, a lot of players over time do forget that each ship in the game does have a utility base and core design role, and that no ship is the same. Even if you want to do the same style of thing with them, they will all falter and do it differently. We will get into the kill mills in the next video, as you guys, I think I did go around 46 or 47 kills with 6 or 7 losses before I stopped the defense and started to mess around and other things in the game. But I just want you guys to see, as an individual player, that you can go out there and make an impact in the game if you just choose to get out there and actually PvP and actually play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and that is in the end player versus player engagements. Now do make sure that you do get out there and try an assault frigate on your own if you can, or even with friends, as they are incredibly fun, but remember, they aren't as powerful as you may think, because each ship in the game will falter to different class of style of ships. So just always choose your fights correctly and you will have a good time. Remember, if you guys do find my videos informational and you do make it all the way to the end, please do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.